l'atterrissage.
Il est passé. Super, l'artiste. Super, encore un but sensationnel. That's a brilliant bit of follow-up play by Mahe. Oh my goodness me, what a shot.
Sagosen setter det hen! Han setter den! De er i semifinale igjen!
The great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "Death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back." Well, Barcelona smiled on Cologne this weekend, and all Matthias Gidsel and his Fuchs Berlin team could do was smile back and get destroyed in that final by the wonderful Emil Nielsen, the surprising Luis Frage, the wonderful, magical Blasians, and even the imperious Stika Mem. They all showed up. Barcelona showed up and claimed another Champions League title. This is a podcast we've done before, Chris. Barca are Champions League champions. How was it in the arena?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm going to be honest. It's fine. I don't know if... I think maybe for the first time since 2015, when it was Nikola Karabatic, or was that 2016? Basically, first time in like a decade, I'm like, yeah, cool that Barca have won it. It's, it was heartbreaking for all the Germans involved. There's nothing quite like the atmosphere in Lanxess Arena when the vast majority of the 20,000 plus fans are slightly annoyed by who wins. The smattering of polite applause when the trophy is raised among the backdrop of we are the champions. But yeah, Barca on top. Are you comparing Barca to death? Then is that what you're doing
exactly.
there? Yeah.
They're as inevitable
they are as inevitable as death.
In the Champions League. They have always been. This is their, let me get this right, this is their fourth title in the last 6 years. This is a dominant streak. The last two being 26 and 24 with Antonio Carlos Ortega at the Realm, previously Xavi Pascual. That's 2 out of 3 for Ortega in his reign. He has done a wonderful job with this team that has lost its has it lost its megastars? I don't know. It's hard to know, but I know one thing, Chris. I know one thing, and I might put this bet on right now. Veszprem are going to win the Champions League next year. And you know why that is?
Emil Nielsen.
Emil Nielsen will be playing for them and will be breaking the hearts of their opponents in very quickly. It was the same as the semi-final, I think, for Barca in this case, where they came out and Emil Nielsen just put down a marker and scared off the very talented opposition in Fuchs Berlin and Aalborg.
Yeah, at least for about 20 to 25 minutes, that was 100% the case. And, we said it on the bonus Patreon podcast last night. Alex, I said I have a vision of Lasse Andersson floating through the air, releasing a shot and being saved by Emil Nielsen. And then they would go down and make it 3-0. Not quite the case. The scoreline was 4-2 when that happened. And instead, Andersson then got another shot and it was blocked down. But full credit to Lasse Andersson. He had a fine game. Like he picked himself up after that. But there was that, and something I didn't have on my bingo card was a clean breakthrough in the very first minute from Matthias Gidsel, staring down Emil Nielsen and getting absolutely shut down by Emil Nielsen. And that really set the tone for me for what would be an explosive start to the game, and 25 minutes where Matthias Gidsel would not score.
Yeah, it was remarkable. He couldn't. I do think there's a massive mental impact of a save like that at the start, and Emil Nielsen, literally stared at his compatriot and rival in this case in the eyes and shut him down from there, it took Matthias Gidsel a long time to get going. And we've seen him in big games that it does take him a little while because he prods and like points and tries to play the ball around at the start because
Leo Messi, like, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's exactly it. He's kind of feeling out the defense. Unfortunately, in this case, the defense was feeling him out, and that was Ludovic Fabregas was absolutely nailing Matthias Gidsel continuously in that first half. Like he couldn't, Matthias did his usual stuff, being a little bit slow. But when he tried to put the foot on the accelerator and try to get into the game, time and time again, Fabregas was there to meet him, and especially on those second wave fast breaks, every single time Matthias Gidsel got the ball, second wave, or from the fast start from the middle, an attack that just works for this Berlin team throughout the year. It continuously destroys teams because Gidsel gets it at full speed. He's sprinting through. He either breaks through himself or creates space. But Fabregas was there at 14 meters, just at the exact moment that Gidsel is going to try to make a move. Fabregas has him wrapped up already, and time again that slowed down Füchse Berlin, and they really couldn't get going for a lot of that first half.
What also ties in with this, of course, he was being shut down in terms of goal scoring, but as you described there, Barca were running their hearts out at getting back in transition defense. They weren't allowing those easy second wave goals or even the first wave counter-attack goals, and that shows up on the stats as well. And I think SofaScore here have maybe done Gidsel a little bit dirty because they have attributed him 0 assists for the game. He won some penalties that were scored, but open play assists he wasn't given any, and that is not Matthias Gidsel. They had to find other solutions for that, and did through Andersson quite a bit because he was spraying the ball around. They really shut down Gidsel in terms of one of his main functions on the team besides being the top scorer.
No, it's a great point, and Lasse Andersson was reminding me of late stage Mikkel Hansen. Mm-hmm. Real that small jump pass into the wing where you're standing, little hop pass into the wing, which he got out to, especially in the second half, he got a few really nice balls out to Håkan Westertaugum, but also the wingers for Berlin. And you look at this, the Berlin box score, and throughout the game, their backcourt players did well. Lichtlein did well. Let me just get this. Yeah, Lichtlein got himself 6 goals from 7. That's a nice game. Lasse Andersson 7 from 12. That's a nice game for Andersson, and Gidsel himself 8 from 11. They all showed up, but in the first half, especially, it was the ancillary players in terms of Freihofer, who missed a couple on the left wing. Westertaugum missed 2 on the right wing. Marcinic missed 1 on the line. And I think there was a Langhoff save in there as well. And all of those are really point-blank saves from Nielsen himself to really shut them down.
I mentioned the first 25 minutes of Gidsel, and the fact that he went 8 from 8 then over the next 30 minutes of handball says a lot, but it shows just how important that effort at the beginning was. And we've heard these kind of conversations about maybe a little bit more about Henny Rijstad, but about both Gidsel and Rijstad, where some coaches are like, we're not going to focus on them. They can score 15 goals. It's fine as long as the rest of the team doesn't score. But this was a great example of why you need to stop Gidsel just for as long as you can, because if he had started that earlier, it might have been, 15 goals if he had scored from the beginning, and if he just taken flight from the very first minute, and then it might have been a different game. But Barca were exceptional, and we talked yesterday about what happens in the semi-final for all the good stuff that happened with Barca and all the bad stuff that happened. They are such a good team for making none of that relevant. And they went from having the worst attack in the Final Four to having the best attack in the Final Four in that first half. Stefan Kretschmar was sitting beside me they're commentating for Diane, and he just said, I don't know where that was the perfect first half. Antonio Carlos Ortega is a genius.
Yeah, he really is. Like, he's brought something magical out of this team, and across the board, like Blasian's playing centre back. You know, how much more can we say about Blasian's here? He's no longer just a Swiss Army knife. He is just he's a full kitchen. He is a professional kitchen. He's a professional chef's knife roll with Japanese carbon steel knives and tongs and tweezers and everything you might need to dissect a team. And he was incredible.
Some of his shots today were astonishing. And, you know, in the first half, I think the first goal he scored was just like, if ever you needed to see how much confidence can play in a team like that and how much self-belief can play in a team like that, where literally all of them were just stepping up and saying, yeah, I'm going to be scoring here and there's nothing you can do about it. It was, you know, you talked about Yuri Knorr in the semi-final getting overexcited and taking those kind of shots, except they were just taking those shots not because they're overexcited, but because they know they're going to score it. And for the most part, they did. And he played in the centre back, played right back, played in the wing. He's had some year for his like showing off his versatility, but I said it during the commentary, like when I think of Blasians, I think of him playing at right back for Kielce. He's been doing this for so long, and we just need to be, I don't know why we need to be reminded of it to like put him in this conversation about like how good he is, because he consistently, I think, underrated. Proper, like many candidates for MVP this weekend, he was definitely one of them based in the final.
Yeah, and that's where you have to give it up to Carlos Ortega, where to give Blasians the trust in the Final Four to play in the backcourt very consistently and have the reins. And I saw that partnership when he was playing centre back and Makuts was playing left back. It worked remarkably well. And we saw that in the European Championship for Slovenia as well. Those two players really taking over and really combining incredibly well. And I don't know if there's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. Has this partnership developed because of their time in Barcelona, or has it because they needed to be together in Slovenia and play a whole championship in the backcourt because there's so many injuries for Slovenia in that tournament? But that partnership it worked incredibly well. And in that second half, you said like Matthias Gidsel didn't get going, and it just felt like Füchse Berlin were within 3 goals for so long, and they were scrambling back. And that's where, you know, if Gidsel just got a couple of goals at the start, and at halftime it wasn't 5 goals, it was 3 goals, the second half would have been a 1-goal game, and that's a completely different game. That's mentally, that is difficult to handle for any team. But Barcelona were able to keep Füchse Berlin at bay, constantly taking every punch, even Fabregas getting sent off, and they could still regroup and hold them at that arm's length, at those 3 goals, right until the very end.
I would love to get some insight, maybe we will at some point during the summer, on like what was spoken about in the Barca team, because they had a very similar lead throughout the game against Aalborg, and it was only in the final 10 minutes that they lost that lead, ended up drawing and going to extra time. There's very little you can do between the Saturday and Sunday, but you can talk and you can like learn lessons. And something that comes to mind is from the women's Final Four this year, Emmanuel Mayenad, the Mets coach, he had this like 15-minute team talk before the game. Brian Campion was telling me on Friday, because he was in the dressing room with them, filming for the documentary. The start of his team talk was teams, like lineups of teams over the years from the final of the Champions League. It's like, this team lost it in 15 minutes. This team lost it in 10 minutes. This team lost it in 20 minutes. Like all the teams that have lost a final after winning a semi-final like they did, and just like reminding them that they cannot make the same mistakes as other teams. They kind of make the same mistakes as they've made themselves in the past. And so I reckon that Aalborg game really played into Barca's favour because they were in a similar situation and managed to get through it. And they are a great example of defensive teams playing on the front foot. Like, that's one of the main reasons they've won this weekend.
But the decisive play of the whole game was exactly that. The decisive play was pretty much how Barca have played all season, how they played in this Final Four, and what's worked for them. And that was right at the very end, about 3 minutes left. Fuchs Berlin got a goal. They're within 2 goals. This is, they've scrambled. There were kind of 4 goals. Then they're down to 3 goals. There's down to 2 goals. 3 minutes left. Fuchs Berlin have the ball. They're like, this is the moment.
Yeah, Milosavljev's making all the saves now.
Milosavljev's woken up again. He is making the saves. Nielsen has stopped making saves a little bit. Like, the tide is there to be turned. And we get a steal from Georgia Chakusa, one of the bright prospects. But this, number 2 coming in and taking off Matthias Gidsel of all people, who gives a weak pass. They get the steal, up, fast break, scores the goal. Fuchs Berlin go up the other side, break through on the left side. Freihopper, save by Emil Nielsen, and that's it. That's game over. Fuchs Berlin demoralized, done, and that is it. It's just incredible defense, aggressive steals, like they're going for those risks, getting the fast breaks that they got, and then Emil Nielsen being there to shut anyone down. So it all came together in those last 2 minutes, and Barca win another one.
Yeah, I mean, the pure range of players that came up with big defensive plays like that in the Barca team, like Dani Fernandez, Ian Barrowfett, Blaž Jans, Luis Frad, Jonathan Karlsbogard, Timothy Engesson, and Georges Chakusha, who I saw use his left hand for the first time in the whole weekend with that shot, because he's played in defense the whole time, but for whatever reason, whenever he did get to play in transition attack, he was passing the ball with his right hand. I don't know if he's trying to be ambidextrous or whatever, but I had almost forgotten that he's supposed to be a right back, but he hasn't been needed there. But both he and his brother Petar, who's been, I'm not sure how public it's been, but there's been a fair amount of criticism about him in the last year. He's dropped down the pecking order, for Spain and for Barca. Both really delivered in those roles that, as you said, didn't quite come together for Berlin today, like the supplementary, the auxiliary roles, just coming in, doing a job. And one of the great things about this win for them, for all of their dominance in the history of this era, like the Champions League era, they're now 12 titles, 13 in total when it comes to European Cups. And this is their 6th win in the Final Four era in the 16 years of it, or 17 years of it now. But this is the first time they've beaten a German team in the final. And this is the first time a German team has lost to a non-German team in the final.
Oh.
So this is history.
This is history.
In its own way, it's history. All of Barca's wins have come against non-German teams in the final. Of course, they've beaten German teams in semi-finals, but still, it's another thing. And, I think if Barca, not to be down on the Germans, because we got a lot of friends in this world. There's one thing to be down on the national team and take the piss out of them, but we love the Bundesliga. Bundesliga is fantastic, but maybe it's good this year that a Bundesliga team didn't win it, because I think they'd all be feeling just a little bit too happy with themselves if Berlin had gone and shown, if these 2 German teams were in other semi-finals, they would have been in the final again. That's probably the kind of chat that would have come. Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about the ascendance of the Bundesliga beyond everyone, and at this point it is, it's very reminiscent of the Premier League and PSG in football, where you have a team who barely plays at home but then comes out and wins. And do you think, how about this one, if Barca played in the Bundesliga, would they win the Bundesliga every year?
Every year, no. I don't think anyone's going to win the Bundesliga every year anymore. I think there's enough there's clearly enough quality in this team. This team is not as good as it is because they are rested all the time. Like for all of the weak opposition they have in the Spanish league, they still have to go and play the games. They've had a near perfect Champions League season as well, just losing one game all season. I think they'd be able to manage to compete at least. They'd be definitely they'd be in that top 3-4 teams always. And they've got the quality. They've got they've got the physicality. They've got the physicality and the variability to deal with any opposition, which they've shown this weekend. From as I said, having purely defensive approach in the semi-final to having all of a sudden the best attack. And I've seen that attack this season. I saw what they did to PSG and where they blew them away and scoring, I think it was 25 or 26 goals in the first half. I've seen that in action, but to see that happen against Berlin is a whole other story. So yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do the business if that group of players was in the Bundesliga. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think they'd be top 2 every year. They would be. They would win. Even these last few years with Magdeburg and Füchse Berlin, any of that, Barca would be right. They'd be the team that everyone's chasing.
Might they even be better because they're playing better opposition week in, week out? Better than they are now.
I don't know. That rule no one knows about that rule anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It is. It's always I think we said it before, like the Barca's situation, like the take on it is always based on how this weekend goes. If they win it, then it's of course they have the perfect situation. If they lose, then it's they're undercooked. So they learned whatever lessons they needed to learn from the Aalborg game and just put it perfectly into practice in a game, a brilliant final performance. I heard Matthias Gidsel speak afterwards. He spoke to EHF TV after the game, and at least he's looking at it from. We're trying to look at it from the positive side of we're 2 seasons in the Champions League. We've been in the final both times. If we keep getting here, eventually we have to win it, he says, which immediately brought my mind to Miguel Hansen, who was there almost every year, and Miguel Hansen never won it.
Yeah, there's a long way to go for Füchse Berlin. I was going to ask you, how would Füchse Berlin be feeling coming out of this? Because this is 2 Champions League finals in a row. This is the type of stuff that gets in people's heads, and it is kind of the last iteration of this team, because Milosavljev and Lasse Andersson, who are such massive parts of this team, are gone next year. Lasse Andersson is going to be playing in a children's school hall in the suburbs of Denmark in the 2nd division all of next year, which is going to be wild. Maybe it'll be nice for him to take a little bit of a break. That's going to be hilarious. But it is the last iteration for this team. There's definitely a gap. They've made it to the Champions League next year. That's good. I think next year is going to be a difficult season for them, unless they fill Lasse Andersson's role somehow, or fill out the squad somehow, because they have Dikamem and Pitlick coming the year after, but they need to qualify for that Champions League. So we could have 2 years where Füchse Berlin may not, 1 year where it feels like they might not be right at the very top, and a second year where they might not even qualify. That starts getting worrisome.
The guy they've got coming in left back, but I think maybe is being brought in more for his defensive abilities, is Frederick Schimak, who is actually a former Berlin player, but spent the last 5 or 6 seasons at Lemgo. But, he's a guy who is an average of 2 goals a game. He's not known for being a big shooter. Andreas Palika is the fill-in for this year now to cover for Milosavljev. And so, Andersson is gone. Milosavljev is gone. Those 2 gone. It's going to be this year of transition, or not even transition. It's the in-between year before the transition begins of getting Pitlick
and Mem. It's going to be wild. but they might be playing in the European League with that team. Like,
yeah, or they accept they're going to have a terrible They can't do it week in, week out in the Bundesliga. They drag themselves through the Champions League, and Gidsel wins the Champions League with that group of players, and it'll be even better that he wins it with that group of players, and therefore qualifies for the Champions League through the Melsungen way, through the back door by winning the Champions League. In the meantime, then denying Kiel a space in the Champions League for the following season, the third place team or something like that. Yeah, I see it all ahead of me now. Yeah, it'll be tough for them, but they are a very resourceful club, and Bob Hanning is not going to let it happen without a fight. They're going to try and figure something out, some kind of solution. I don't think Mathis Langhoff, as much as I admire him and his versatility and his spunk, I'm not sure he's the man to take over at left back yet for them, or maybe ever. It's just Lars Andersson is a very unique type of player, and unless they want to go down the small ball route completely of like Grundle, Lichtlein and Gidsel, then, but that requires a big change in approach and how you're going to play.
Yeah, and defensively that's going to be difficult as well.
Yeah.
Like Lars Andersson's a big loss defensively in itself. He's an incredible two-way player. Like if you look back at, again, your comparison of Mikkel Hansen, like Mikkel Hansen arrived to PSG and they got runners-up in 2017. They came third place in 2018, third place again in 2020, and like it all seemed inevitable at that point. Yeah. And then you end up in 2024 with Aalborg, and he's taking a shot to save with his last chance to get a Champions League gold medal. That things run. Obviously, Matthias Gidsel is a different beast, but you can't take for granted the chances to win the Champions League. Not many teams, not called Barca, have won the Champions League multiple times. Like it's been Barca, and then a random team has come out of anywhere, and Füchse Berlin have really staked the claim. They've been a wonderful team. They had a big chance to do it, and unfortunately couldn't get over the line. In this case, I don't know, you can't even, in previous years we talked about, the squad not being wide enough. Like it's not that. It's just they just weren't good enough, and Emil Nielsen was better than Matthias Gidsel in this case. And Emil Nielsen's won everything. He's won all the golds in the World Championships. He's won it in the European. He's done the Olympics. He's done the Champions League. Like now he goes to Veszprem and gets that gold medal. Champions League medal. Surely
he gets IHF World Handball Player of the Year. Like, now that's the only thing he's missing, right? Now, like he needs to get that. Join the small collection of goalkeepers that get that award, and then it will be the ultimate holy grail of like being the man who brings Veszprem to the title. Fabregas couldn't do it. Now he's got his hands in the trophy again as the Barca player. Many men have come and gone, and it'll be fascinating to follow that. I'm just so happy for Nielsen. Like his reaction afterwards, so genuine. Like for a man, as he said, who's won it all. Like he's so genuine in what he does. I just love that he hasn't changed as well.
Not at all.
Like, he has stuck to his guns. He is who he is. There was all the chat. Like it wasn't that long ago. Probably 5 years ago. All the Danes were like, he's too fat to play for Denmark.
I was just reminiscing yesterday or the day before. I was telling some of my friends that the time we accidentally gave Emil Nielsen the wrong nickname. Well, the Big Cheese is the right one. But the Le Gros Fromage, not Le Grand Fromage, where we gave him the nickname of the Fat Cheese. Because neither of us spoke French. So we need to learn what the big cheese is in Hungarian for next season.
Yeah, true.
In its true meaning.
Let us know. Yeah.
That is not... We obviously respect him and like his ability.
We talked to him about that, about the nickname on the podcast, so I think we're good. Yeah, and Barca, speaking of replacements, I mean, Hernandez for Nielsen doesn't feel like an amazing replacement right now, but who knows what Hernandez can do like under the new conditions of Barca and the change in demands. But Mackrit's leaving, on his peak, but he's being replaced by Giannis Doughty Smarrison, which is
that's a steady.
At least when it comes to where Smarrison is in his career, I think he will be an excellent addition to them, and perhaps brings that, like on the court side, brings Barca to a higher level overall.
Could be, and they'll have a last season of DKM as well. I think that'll be important for him, and I have to say DKM really stepped up in the second half of this final as well, showing that he's still got the star power. Barca do it again, but you're right, it doesn't feel as bad as other times because it's a nice team. It's a nice team.
It's a nice team, and they've beaten the Germans for the first time. So it's something new. It's something different for all of that. And yeah, just a note on the bronze medal match which was like the tale of the departed players. Like, my goodness, that was almost more emotions there, just with players having their farewells across the board. Like, I wrote them down: Buster Yule, Christian Bjornsson, Rene Antonsen, Sergio Hernandez, Christian O'Sullivan, Tim Hornke, Manuel Sander. And that was just the players who were in the squad. There was a bunch of Magdeburg players who were not in the squad who were leaving as well. So that was just Magdeburg playing the way they should have played the day before. But and Aalborg being goosed from getting so close to getting the breakthrough against Barca.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Arnason played either. And,
no, he was left out. I found out why beforehand. He carrying a shoulder injury since the quarterfinal of the Champions League. He missed out on one of the Danish league final games because of it as well. So
yes, I was
they were just like, but they're not gonna where they don't need to. They weren't going to play him. If they got to the final, he would have played. Otherwise, it's full speed ahead for next season.
Also, big news coming. I mean, it's for another time. But with Segstrup going to Aalborg next year.
Oh, what?
Leaving Magdeburg and going to Aalborg, yeah.
What?
I don't know if it's been confirmed.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Wow.
It's been going around the usual sites, but it's fairly certain as far as I can see it. So that's a big change for both of those clubs. But anyway, Barca win again. The show goes on, and the season ends. Chris, this is it.
Ends.
This is it for another wonderful season. We've watched Magdeburg win the Bundesliga. We watched Nantes get tantalizingly close to beating PSG, but PSG retaining that French title. Mm-hmm. We've seen Aalborg sweep everyone in their way in Denmark, and Hoy Elite, the mega project, going down into the second division. We've seen Veszprém come back to the top in Hungary, beating Szeged, who continue to disappoint. And we saw Kielce regain some of their magic, beating Wisła Płock for the first time in 3 years at home in the championship. And some magic in the European League as well. Melsungen claiming a Champions League spot through winning the Champions League, denying their Bundesliga rivals. That's going to be a lot of fun next year. And Metz winning the Women's Champions League, the first French team to ever do it. And then finally, Barcelona doing what they do best, winning the Champions League again. Great season.
Lovely.
No international handball during the summer. We'll relax. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's a beach handball tournament that Chris is going to be at in about 3 days' time.
That is precisely what's happening. Going to be in the Netherlands, in Tilburg. And then after that, the Beach Handball World Championship is on. So we'll see if the mood strikes to me to chat a bit of beach handball with somebody. And then, of course, there'll be the drama of the who gets into the new Champions League season, which will probably only take about a week or so to figure out because the draw for that is in like 10 days. So, yeah, we'll be chatting handball again pretty soon.
We will be chatting handball, but everyone who has joined us, who stuck around, who came on board during the European Championship, has stuck around. Everyone who's been with us for many years and who's been contributing on the Discord, all our pals. Thank you so much.
I was on fire for the final.
Always.
Couldn't even scroll back through it all. It was nuts. So yeah, great energy. Like Twitter should be.
Exactly.
On handball. Yes, mini handball
Twitter in our Discord. Yeah. So maybe right now is not the best time to sign up for the Patreon. I'm not going to lie, but stick around with us and we'll be back with you a little bit throughout the summer and into the new season as the teams line up. It's been a great year, Chris. We'll see you again shortly. Goodbye.